A Dreamer by Asha, a part of Beautiful Imperfection album. Yeah, Beautiful Imperfection. Yeah.
Two words,
You
yeah.
know,
Beautiful
that
and
sounds
imperfection.
oxymoronic. You understand, okay? If you have beautiful and you have imperfection.
Imperfection.
So whatever is beautiful is supposed to be perfect, right?
But we're having imperfection in it.
So
So
we're
how
having
come?
beautiful imperfection. Okay?
Like you're
So,
having this is what my teacher do tell us in school then. What you
What's
call
that?
it now? Good something like that. Two words opposite,
Yeah, exactly.
You know the way things used to be.
yeah. That's the beauty of literature, really. You know, beautiful imperfection. So this one dropped in the year 2010. That song by Asha.
Some 10 years ago.
Yeah, some 10 years ago. Yeah, many years ago.
Lovely.
Okay, so that's a reminder also. Yeah, that whatever you do with time, we will definitely talk about it. Yeah, that is what she has done with our own time. One of those things really by Asha. And I even read somewhere that she wanted to have a concert in Nigeria. Okay, she has gone to other parts of the world. I think France, the UK, and some other places. But then, because of what we are battling with at the moment, so
she had to
that's
stay back.
actually very impossible. Yeah. All right, dreamer. So dream big. Life is the dream. Maybe someday, one day, dream of plenty of things every day. Dream that love that will come away. Dream of many lives. And dream
some will
that
definitely
in
come.
the world there will be a change. And dream also that in this world you can also make a change. Like they say,
You
just
can be that change.
the change that you want to see. Don't say no, they should have done like this. Okay, let it start with you. Yeah, change begins with you. That is the way it is. If any government, if any political party, if anyone, says that, they want to change the world, the question is this:
Are you starting?
you have to start
You have to start
from
from
our different
yourself.
homes. You understand? Okay, you start with yourself. Yourself
It
first.
will be easier for us to handle it that way,
Yeah, exactly.
bit by bit.
Bit by bit. So that's why we say don't look up to the government for the change that you want to see. Why didn't you be that change first? So if the first person is the change, the second person is the change, then if we start it that way, if we have that very drive, then if everyone is
happy
the
the same
change that he
mindset.
or she wants to see, then the world is going to definitely be a better place.
That
You
reminds
understand?
me. I saw something when I was coming to work on Monday. After the was it Monday or Tuesday now? The rain fell, and I saw that early morning.
Yeah.
I saw a lady using this plastic packer, to pack the dirt on the. After the rain fell, the
I
flood
understand what you're saying.
brought dirt from the drainage
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So she was packing it back into the drainage, like I don't know, those nylons and everything. You were throwing it back into the drainage,
Thereby blocking the
drainage again.
At the end of the
The
day,
best you should have done is
at the end of the day, there'll be every flood, then
Flood,
it
thing
will overflow,
multiplies
then
again
affects so
and
many
affects
people,
your
and
house.
you blame it on government.
and you blame it on government. You should
Yeah.
have packed that, put
Yeah.
in the sack, then you have the waste men come in and you give it to them and take it away.
Yeah,
It's as simple as that.
we talked about something yesterday, that why do you have to increase the prices of food items at this time because of coronavirus? Okay, because that is not from the government; it
That's
is
not
from
the
you.
government.
You understand? So
I even heard.
why do you have to do that?
I don't know, because I heard some people, when you increase the price and you ask them, they tell you this. They just got the goods. When did you get them?
When do you get them? When? So, and tomorrow you also wake up to blame the government.
Blame the
So
government.
you are the first problem of this country. That's the way it is. So that's why you have to change. You have to change.
You just
if
have to
you are
change
doing
the
that,
way we do things.
you have to change. Be the change that you want to see. That's what we're telling you today. And this is our generation. Okay, let's make it a better one. Let's make
So
it a
those
better
coming
one.
behind us would
Exactly.
have something to say about us. A
Definitely.
good thing to say about us,
Yeah,
not
definitely.
the other way around.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for listening to Morning Rave on Rave 91.7 FM. We're going to see you guys on Monday. Thompson Ty was my name.
And Femi Odufo is my name. Do have yourself a lovely day.
Yeah.
And
Band
weekend.
by Bram. We'll be signing out with that.
Yeah.
Come on, anybody amade o, banso, ma beni Banso, my baby, so.
Brave 91.7 FM.
Oh yes, good people of State of Osun, listen attentively. The government of State of Osun is set to begin the enumeration and collections of land use charge all over the state. Our valuers will come and assess your property to determine what you are entitled to pay. It is once in a year payment. Land use charge is collected in all the states of the Federation. As soon as you get your demand notice, pay promptly. It is backed by law. His Excellency the Governor, State of Osun, has asked us to bring the fees to the barest minimum. Let us play our part for the development of State of Osun by paying our land use charge promptly. This message is brought to you by Osun Internet Revenue Service. Land use charge, pay for development.
Welcome to Zenith Bank. Please dial *966*0# and follow the prompts to open a Zenith Bank account with €0 and immediately get your new account details. You can then fund your account and start enjoying excellent customer service. To find out more about our products and services, simply visit our website zenithbank.com or social media pages. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
ẹ̀yin àgbẹ̀ tẹ́ ń dáko nígbó ọba tó wà yíká ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì research ẹ̀tẹ́ ti bẹ̀lẹ̀lẹ̀ kẹ́ ẹ gbọ́ ìkéde pàtàkì yìí o. ìjọba ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ fowókọsílẹ̀ iye àwọn àgbẹ̀ tó ń dáko láwọn igbó ọba láti lè mọ iye àwọn àgbẹ̀ àti láti lè pèsè tó péye fún yín. bákan náà láti lè fún yín ní káàdì ìdánimọ̀ èyí ni ID card. ọjọ́ Monday ọjọ́ kẹrìndínlógún oṣù kẹta ní forúkọsílẹ̀ ìgbérasọ. ọjọ́ Friday ọjọ́ kẹwàá oṣù kẹrin ní pẹ́ẹ́pẹ́ẹ́pẹ́ yóò pin lórí ìforúkọsílẹ̀ yìí. wàyí boko jìnnà ìlàkì kò ẹ kàn sí ẹ̀ka tó ń sí igbó ọba iléeṣẹ́ tó ń sí ọ̀rọ̀ àyíká Department of Forestry Ministry of Environment State of Ọ̀ṣun láti lè lọ gba fọ́ọ̀mù tìyín. awífúnni kó tó dání agbàjàkadì ẹ̀yin àgbẹ̀ tẹ́ wà ní igbó ọba sàṣà àgọ́ òwú ọba ìkejì ìpẹ̀tù ìlà ẹ̀dẹ àti igbó ọba tó wà ní èjìgbò kékulé ó gbọ́ kó sọ fún tòkò. àgbẹ̀ tó bá ń dáko lóko ọba tí kò bá lo àǹfààní ìforúkọsílẹ̀ yìí yóò pàdánù oko rẹ̀. olùkéde ẹ̀ka tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ igbó ọba iléeṣẹ́ tó ń sí ọ̀rọ̀ àyíká nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun.
We live in a world where news breaks every second and events happen in the twinkling of an eye, where people get high on socio-political issues, especially when they are affected, but there is little time, limited platforms to discuss them. Here comes the platform, Thompson and the Gang, a no-holds-barred socio-political discussion program where we put in perspective some of the major happenings in the polity during the week and make your opinions count. It is engaging, objective, and analytical.
I'm your host. My name is Thompson Taiwo. Join me and my gang of public analysts on the program Thompson and the Gang every Saturday, 7 to 9 a.m. on Rave 91.7 FM. Thompson and the Gang, more than just a conversation.
From your amazing radio channel, Rave 91.7 FM. It's 9 a.m.
I'm telling you pointedly that Fayoshe's security vote was 150 million.
You know, he's saying it wasn't announced then that when the Fayemi administration got into power now that they discovered.
The question is also that as Fayemi announced his own.
Then how did you know that he has increased it then?
You see, I was in government.
Thorough and incisive discussions.
They are not complaining.
You know, but they are not the only ones complaining, Mr. Ngilali. We've had complaints also from ASU.
ASU will say, there's so much corruption in federal government. There's so much. Answer me. I want you to ask them.
Engaging interviews with key stakeholders in various sectors.
Have you seen, then, met General Ibrahim Babangida? Have you reconciled after?
Oh yes.
You've met him?
Yes, I met him twice. General Babangida and I, we have no problem. Don't forget.
But following up also, you said there's a lot he cannot balance in regards to monies that went out of agencies under him.
In regards to money went out of agencies under him?
Yes.
What what I just
started this
election. Let me give you the answer. Go to marketplaces. They will be rolling on us our money and see whether you candidate of PDP. You are making rubbish.
Frank talk, quality talk, taking it from all angles, politics and policy being played out by our politicians and policy makers.
Join me, Femi Olanipekun, your host on Front Talk, 9 to 10 a.m. every weekday on Rave 91.7 FM, where we have frank discussions and give you quality talk. Always.
Alaji, you will have the time.
Just thinking about the booze.
Alaji, just hold on.
That is your.
Is that true, Mr.
That is for you.
I am not aware of
that. You will not agree.
Frank Talk will start at 3, 2, 1.
Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us on this edition of Frank Talk, reaching you live from the studios of Rave 91.7 FM, where we define every beat of your moment with amazing music and quality talk. My name is Femi Olanikpek, and I welcome you on board the last edition of the program for this week. It's been an issue of the coronavirus dominating public discourse. We've had several conversations from different angles on this issue. This morning, the confirmed cases in Nigeria stands about 65. We had about 14 new cases yesterday, and that should be the highest number added since we recorded the index case in our dear country in Nigeria. Worrying situation it is, but we also need to ramp up more tests. We spoke yesterday to the senator representing Osun Central Senatorial District, Dr. Jibola Bashiru, debunking rumors that he has contracted the virus, saying he's just on self-isolation, observing the established protocol after he returned from the United Kingdom. But Osun State's case is still that one index case under treatment now. The commissioner spoke to us yesterday and he said that he's in a stable condition. But this morning, we'll be getting some more updates as regards the case here in Osun State. We, according to government statement, also it is on this. We understand that all markets and malls will be shut down starting from today. There'll also be some new instructions as regards transportation in the state. Most of Nigeria is shutting down. Different states in the country, introducing measures to contain and control the spread of this very virus. So, but today we'll also be talking about what happens afterwards when eventually, God willing, we overcome this particular challenge. Some experts are of the opinion that our lives may never be the same, will never be the same again in terms of our relationship, how we relate with one another, that some of what we're doing now will have an impact on how we carry out our activities and businesses and relationships going forward. But just before we go into that, let's bring on the Commissioner for Health in Osun State, Dr. Rafiu Isamo, to give us an update on the situation and also clarify on some issues as regards the Osun Index case. Thank you for joining us on Frank Talk this morning, Dr. Rafiu Isamo.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. So, what updates, really? I think we should start from that end. What update have we as regards the situation here in Osun State, sir?
Thank you so much. The only case we have in our state, which in our facility is stable. As I'm speaking with you now, it does not even have any complaint yet. But due to our proactiveness, we will have meeting, and that is the most dangerous thing to do. Because if somebody does not have symptoms, it is easy for that person to spread it in the community. So it's doing well. Look, we haven't had any concern about it.
Okay.
Now, as regards the preparedness, we have our isolation center up and running in Asubiaru. Our ICU, we soon be ready. Really, not everybody that has coronavirus will require ICU admission. Western world is not even admit people. You could actually stay at home and self-isolate, but that would be pretty much difficult in our environment by virtue of the way we live our lives. Family members, relations, friends, and all that will come out of the So, and that's the most important thing that we will have to keep anybody happy. Positive in the secure facility, monitor and give treatment as when needed. That's what we have done.
Okay, so you're saying
the isolation center, we have other places again. We have another isolation center in Obatalawolo University Complex in Ilete.
Okay.
We have another one in Mercyland here in Missouri. Those ones, we are just putting finishing touches into them. But we have capacity enough to admit people in Asperu if you have any positive case.
Okay, so I want you to clarify, Honorable Commissioner. After we spoke to you yesterday, some people raised issues and saying perhaps there was an oversight on your part or the part of the government, saying why did you allow the other person, the index case, to go to the hotel. But maybe you like to clarify that particular end, as to what really happened. So.
Thank you so much. Well, people say do not let it, do not stay in the kitchen. It is part of the job. People will have to criticize us. People will make comment and all that. I have no problem with that. But I need to make this clarification. This particular patient in question, I got his number from someone. I put a call through to him. He was already on his way to Osun. And I asked him to call me as soon as he gets to Osun. And lo and behold, when he got to Ikiri, he called me. He called me when he was in Baga, when he was in Odeomu, and when he was in Akuda. So I asked him to come to Asperu. And straight away, he came to Asperu. He drove himself to Asperu. Now, some people are saying that I should have asked my colleague in Lagos. I do not know him. He's not a relation of mine. He's not a way. He could have even not picked my call. He could have just gone straight to his house. But this is a patriotic Nigerian. He immediately came as we did what we had to do, as a responsible government. He took sample from me. The sample came back positive. Now, he went to a hotel where he knows. People could go and find out from the hotel manager. He has the hotel manager not to come to his home, that he wouldn't need any services of anybody. Understand the money he paid in the hotel, he transferred the money to them. So I do not know where we have heard, in this regard. But nevertheless, criticism is part of the job. People can criticize us, but I just want to emphasize that we cannot do this alone. We need the cooperation of everybody. Even in Western side, in advanced countries, the populace need to cooperate with government. So we need the cooperation of everybody for us to be able to fight this deadly disease that is ravaging the whole world. So I'm taking it on board. I know I don't have any problem with the person, I am in particular. So I have to mention his name. He was the one that put it on his Facebook page. I do not have any problem with you. You can criticize us. But we have to do what we need to do. That I allowed the man to bring the coronavirus also. As far as I know, he didn't even know that he had coronavirus. We do not know how many people have entered into our state.
Okay, Doctor, I want to clarify something. You said you called him when he was about coming into Osun. Was he showing? Yes. Was he showing any symptoms?
No, he didn't show any symptoms.
Okay, you just got his contact, and then because he was a person of interest coming from the United Kingdom, that was why you asked him to come and report to you.
Absolutely. He didn't have any symptoms.
Okay.
We could have just asked him when he got to Asperu, if he have any symptoms, so we go home and self-isolate. We know that will be pretty difficult in our environment. That was why we took the sample from him.
Okay, but one other question some people have asked, it would be good for you to clarify, Honorable Commissioner, is when it came to Ashubiaru, some people are now saying perhaps it could have been tied down. I don't know if there was a need to do that. I could, since he reported to you, maybe it could have been isolated there.
No, that's not the way. People have access to the NCDC website. When you have a suspected case, even without any symptoms, you cannot detain him. You cannot ask him to stay behind. Like I did mention earlier on, in the Western world, those that have been tested positive, they are hard to go home. But that would be difficult to maintain in our environment here. You cannot afford to do that. Like I said, everybody knows about this man, Ateta, the coach of Arsenal. He tested positive and he recuperated in his house. He stayed in his home.
So not every case will be treated in a hospital, even if you test positive.
No, in our environment, if you are tested positive, we will hold you.
Okay.
And the reason is simple that I've just mentioned. We do not know how many people will have access to his house. Though the person might say, don't worry, we don't have anybody to see me. That would be difficult to maintain our environment. We hope and I pray it will not get to that stage where we see people that are tested positive and we have them to go home. That is what we do in the Western world. But we cannot afford to do that there.
Well, I like to thank you, and I hope the air is cleared on these now. Dr. Rafiu Isamotu, we appreciate you joining us, and we thank you so much for the good job you're doing also, and we also look forward to get more updates on this. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you. All right, Dr. Rafiu Isamotu, giving us some updates and clarifying some of the controversies trailing his initial statements also yesterday. Well, let's focus now on the issue today. We'll still continue with the coronavirus, looking at relationships now, looking at what impact this could have on the world, on how we manage our businesses and how we relate to one another. I'm joined in the studios this morning by Dr. Oluwafisayo Adebinkwe. She is of the Department of Psychiatry, College of Health Sciences, Lautech Teaching Hospital, Oshogbo. She's a lecturer and she's also a clinical psychologist. Thank you for joining us on Frank Talk this morning, Dr. Adebinkwe.
Good morning. Good morning, Nigeria.
Thank you very much. And Dr. Adeoye Oyewole, consultant psychiatrist, and also a theologian. I think I should stress that part. This edition of the show. Joins us on the program too. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Oyewole.
Yes, good morning and welcome to the program.
All right. So, after every major incident, issues that rock the world like these, we've had a kind of a shift, an adjustment in how the world reacts. And I'd like to give you an instance. After the 9/11, we had tighter controls, immigration, tighter controls, tighter checks at the airports. That was when we started removing our belts and removing our shoes. So people and experts are concerned and saying at this point again, after the end of the coronavirus, there are likely going to be changes in how we relate with ourselves. Dr. Adebinkwe, tell me, what are some of those? Do you agree with that line of thinking? Are there going to be changes in how we relate? People are resorting to online meetings now, offices closed and what have you. Are you expecting some of these changes?
Yes.
Is it really true? Should we expect something like that?
Yes, we need to expect it because it has already been happening now. Now, since the inception of COVID-19 in December 2019, none of us took it very seriously. Even the so-called Western world, the European countries in UK, Canada, America, that everyone always look up to, they got it wrong. Because they never knew that it's going to go out of hand. Now coming down to Nigeria, it's expected. Our mindsets, the mind is always preoccupied with different things. Now the COVID-19, what exactly is COVID-19? A lot of people are not aware. The awareness, what the disease, the illness is all about, most people don't know. Until of recent, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago, when our government now took it seriously. I stand to be corrected.
Was it because of us recording
because of
the index case and perhaps
the
more cases now?
Now, going back to the society, I would like to add my own psychological concept into it. Because Nigerians, for who we are, we tend to wait until the last minute, that last minute approach in terms of tackling situation. Things normally get us at the tail end. That's when we act. Now, coming to how we react to situations, we influence the way we behave, our immediate environment, in terms of our thinking process, our thought process. The first psychological theory that we use, we call it health locus of control. What does health locus of control mean? It has to do with the internal factor and the external factor. The internal has to do with you as a person, how you perceive events that happen around you. That's how you handle it. What about the external? The external has to do with the powerful others in terms of maybe your doctors, your lawyers, your spiritualists, which we cannot shy away with, and our culture, maybe chance, fate. So those will now indirectly reinforce what we are, the human next point of action. Because if I believe that there's no big deal about COVID-19, it doesn't really affect me. If my pastor says otherwise, unless someone that is more superior and that will be the government, the people in charge of our health system. Secondly, there's another theory that we propose. We call it health belief system. There's no doubt about it. Our health belief system is very strong in Nigeria. Now, the health belief system, how do you inculcate it into this COVID-19 coronavirus? We all have perceived typical pattern of belief system that is like a program thing within us. If there's this perceived susceptibility to an illness that this illness, I think it's going to affect me. You know, it's about me. You extend it to the next person. What about the seriousness, the severity of the illness, the disease? Is it going to have a negative implication on me? The cost at the end of the day, determination of our existence is what? Is death. Why are we all scared? Is it because of death?
We don't want to die.
But not suppose people don't want to die. Let's be factual. That's why everybody is running. Even Donald Trump, see the way this, as in the big people in the society. So the cost, we should put it into consideration as in carrying out this behavior. Now going back to the benefits. Like if I go do the needful in terms of self-isolation that everybody has, the distancing, this thing is going to help. What about the information? Our government, are they doing the right thing? Okay. Because our information has just been flooded. You get this, the only information that I listen to is from the WHO or the experts in the health field. Is it everybody that has that opportunity? It's because I'm privileged, I'm knowledgeable. A layman on the street who doesn't know anything about coronavirus. Do you understand? It doesn't really affect. What about our health motivation? Are you motivated in terms of it's a personal thing and the passive control? Femi.
Okay. Dr. Yewole.
Yeah.
Here we are. And we are hoping and praying seriously that this goes away sometime very soon. The figures from Italy and Spain are scary. The IOC postponed the 2020 Olympics and inked that decision on figures they are getting from Africa. I mean, many Africans are alarmed at that decision, saying, why should you say you are postponing the Olympics because of coronavirus in Africa when it's even the least affected continent as of now? But how do you see these affecting us when this goes away? How do you see it affecting how we relate as human beings, how we conduct our business as human beings?
Yes, I think I would leverage on very profound premise that Dr. Adebimpe had actually brought forward. Human behavior is predicated on experience and perception. And there's this sociological theory of sick role and illness behavior. The society has, we may not be aware of it, independent of the orthodox medical theories and all of that, we have our own theory of this particular illness.
You mean as Africans?
Oh, yes.
As Nigerians?
That's the challenge. In every community, the man on the street, I'm not talking the person I'm not talking about the person in the health industry.
Okay.
They have their interpretation and their understanding of what this illness is.
Reinforced or influenced by fake news or misinformation?
No, I mean, traditionally. You know, our society has a cultural belief system, like she talked about, concerning health and then disease. There are concepts. You know, we've had smallpox, we have bubonic plagues, and there is a residual information in the society and of theories of what caused it. I mean, one interesting, look at the Bible now about lepers. You know, it actually even affected the lepers. The colony in Ogbomoso, it was when the white men came that they brought them and said they can be taken care of. Once they read it somewhere from a religious axis that the lepers should not stay within the community, they chased them out. To say is this, that the residual cultural beliefs about his disease, those authorities that she mentioned, will also go a long way to shaping what happens afterwards. We're going to be having, for instance, doctors in quote, who will be diagnosing corona. I don't know whether you're getting what I'm saying. You know, we have alternative practitioners who treat everything. They can tell you about one drug that will treat everything. We are going to have those alternate practitioners coming up with their own cure for this coronavirus. They will tell you what causes it, which may be totally different from what the orthodox medicine is telling us. That is going to shape the behavior of people after now. So we're going to have a lot of quackery. We're going to have an overdiagnosis of this particular illness.
Overdiagnosis?
Yes, because when you common cold now is going to be lumped with corona after now. You know, it's a flu, but it's a terrible flu that goes for the lungs and then complicates other systems of the body. But I'm saying after now, a lot of people are going to eat from, let me use that word, from this corona thing. So which time somebody is sneezing, an average person gets hypochondria. Native practitioners at times may take advantage of this. So possibly sleep on the same bed with him. I mean, I read of some doctors in the US whose wives and children had to relocate to another town because the man is a frontliner doctor. Nobody also wants to, I don't know whether you get the physical effect of it. And it will take time before we begin to now relate very well. So it's going to also affect marital relationship. It's going to affect the family life. Apart from overdiagnosis, a lot of people actually are going to also self-medicate, even when they don't have the coronavirus. You know, I think the chloroquine crisis has gone down a bit. But when they mention, there's going to be more so-called pronouncement, and then people will be self-medicating. Some people will go into prophylactic treatment that is not even orthodox, that could kill them. I don't know whether you're getting this point. So it's going to shape our life differently. Ceremonies will be a little affected over time, because even if the common man doesn't believe it again, they are seeing people who are already believing, who are already having it. They are seeing possible people who have traveled abroad. I mean, look at that person that came in now from Osho State, quite patriotic. He gave himself up for testing, but don't forget that he's from a family. He's from a community. He has a circle of friends. In as much as they want to, associate with him, they also want to also tread with caution.
So there's a potential for stigma. That's what
Stigmatization. Yes, please. Because these are processes.
Even when they've been cured, people have recovered.
Oh, yes.
Months and weeks afterwards.
Each time you have people coming from abroad for ceremonies, people will not want to go near.
Or if even someone who's recovered as a normal flu or cough, where we say,
people will distance themselves. And that's going to affect a lot of our social interactions. Because even this virus is just being studied. They're just getting to know the way it manifests. How can we differentiate? It's like we want to differentiate malaria from typhoid. Very close. That's how flu and this particular, you don't know which one will progress into the other. So people want to actually, take into consideration that anybody with a flu, and then if you have relatives abroad, when they come, people may now want to say maybe they should stay somewhere, and then we'll go and be seeing them to interact with them.
Okay, well, just before I get back to Dr. Adebinkwe, this issue of the distancing, of the social distancing, I should come to you.
Okay.
And people have said, is it really practicable in Nigeria? That how do you enforce something? They said maybe the middle class, the elite, can do it, but then talking about people in crowded areas of Mushin, of Oshodi, of Idumota, of Alikuodo, of some other parts of our urban centers where it's jam-packed, but people living 10 in a room. How do you enforce social distancing? Can we really practice it? Is it part of our culture?
Honestly, to a certain extent, it's practical. But to be truthful, I don't think it's 100% possible in Nigeria. Why? Poverty is in the air. It's because we are privileged. That's why we are so comfortable to be saying stuffs. Now, confusion is even in the air because people don't really know what to do. You mentioned 8 people in a room. Are you going to is there any provision by the government? That's why I have my reservation for government. Because before you could engage or make a decisive measure, I think this should have been done maybe like 2 months earlier, precisely like January. You cannot come and tell me that coronavirus is around and I'm living in one room. How is it visible? Let's be honest with ourselves. Stigmatization. Even you see people, people that are wearing face masks, because a lot of people are even confused. People don't even want to use it. I saw a 5-year-old boy. He amazed me. He told me, "Mommy, they taught us in school about coronavirus. A person that is attending a normal, they understand, does he have that knowledge? Paranoia. Joma, don't get near me." It's not that those people saying it's such, they don't want to be infected, because even if they are infected, they are not knowledgeable about the cost implication. That is not up to that. Let me give you a scenario. I cannot ever travel outside Nigeria. I'm hey. And everybody knows that hey, most people, we are aware that hey, our sickness is what? Malaria. I carry my anti-malaria. If I travel outside Nigeria, what will happen to me? They will quarantine. I'll be quarantined. It's a simple common sense thing for those that knows it. So let's just don't let us be a joker. Don't let us deceive ourselves about this thing. We must look at the social class. What are the provisions? I was even thinking, what are the roles of our traditional rulers, our obas? What are they doing? They have, at this particular point, they should be up and doing now, because I don't know the Yoruba of town criers. You understand? Then what are their work? Early in the morning, they will sensitize those in the remote areas. You can't just, we should have our role descriptions. So this one that you are saying, people in, to be frank with you, is that possible? I stand to be corrected.
Well, Doctor, yes. So I feel that as for the other classes of persons, like I said the other time, we have a pre-existing socio-cultural facility to prescribe health behavior. We have an existing socio-cultural template to also preach preventive measures.
Yes.
I think what we need to do is to be able to interact with the existing templates, like you talked about the significant others, the powerful people, who will be able to get to understand. And I think somehow, look at the Ebola crisis. People that would eat bushmeat, who will say they can never do without bushmeat. Bushmeat was all over the pepper soup area. Nobody was eating it. Because when they understood the index, the people just need to have an experience, has to see somebody close to them having that experience. Those people in those eight in a room, they will scatter. I mean, I don't know whether you're getting my point. So people may need to, there may be 1 or 2 casualties around them before they get to learn that this thing is really deadly, and then they begin to behave themselves. So I think Africans are a little sophisticated too. They have their templates. Although we may not go the way of the orthodox medicine 100%. But by the time people begin to see that this illness is really true, then they begin to behave.
Okay, so you as a theologian, doctor, let's look at the possible impact on our religious settings now going forward. Will this affect in any way how devout we are as a people going forward when this crisis is over? Churches are shut now, mosques are shut. Some people complied, some people did not comply. Someone still called on our radio yesterday saying they did not allow us to pray, they did not allow us to go to church and mosque. Will these, for instance, affect the number of people going to church? Will this, for instance, affect the number of people who have such strong faith before this crisis?
I want to believe that it's going to make people, for instance, Christians, of the Christian religion, or even any religion, get a little more personal with their God. Because now you don't have the privilege of being touched by the powerful man of God, that he would transmit his anointing on you to prevent corona. Do you understand what I'm saying? That is not even encouraged. You're not even having the opportunity of maybe anointing oil or some handkerchief being transferred to you. Now, the emphasis is now for you to stay in your house and then pray to God, which is a fundamental principle of our relationship with God in spiritual development. Africans have always been more religious than spiritual because of our culture. We've always wanted a man who will superintend our our connection to God, which is the reason why we have been more religious rather than spiritual. The actual value of religion is to be spiritual, which means
what's the difference? You know,
yes,
being religious, being spiritual.
The influences here and there. You may need instructors from somebody who's journeyed that road before, but you must also personalize it and have a connection to God that is personal. That's what is going to be happening now.
So you see more people after this being more spiritual.
Oh yes, please,
having
because
a personal connection with their Creator.
Because people are reading the Bible now. A lot of times people will say, "Oh, I'm covered, or nothing will happen to me." Now people are reading the Bible. Psalm 91 is all over the social media. A lot of psalms. People are reading scriptures. People are quoting the scriptures. There are small groups online quoting scriptures. People praying, learning to pray themselves, learning to talk about the scriptures.
The consequence of apprehension.
Oh yes, families are learning to also do morning devotion. Pray together. Some fathers that have known that will just say, "Mommy, go and pray with the children now." Fathers also are scared, and they will join mommy to pray together. You understand what I'm saying? And so they will see that maybe their daughter is. The other time my daughter had that I drove in front of Ashubiaro, he said, "Please, I hope you didn't go to that hospital, please, Daddy, because I'll be doing social distancing." So those kind of things, as a head of the family, you want to crush fear. You want to inspire hope. Then you as a father, you that possibly you've never read scriptures for a long time, you have to go into the Bible and look for certain portion of the scriptures to inspire people around you.
Okay. Well, Dr. Adebimpe, in spite of the crisis and the challenges, before us, you see some religious leaders not obeying or following the directives mandated by the authorities and government. Do we have any psychological explanation for why, even in the face, this is dangerous, but you still think you still go that route? Do we have any psychological explanation for it?
Yes, there is. Number one, the Bible, the holy books totally agree with obedience in terms of higher authority. The law is above everyone. So the mere fact that some certain group of religious leaders or sects or churches are not obeying, it's a no for me. You know why? Because there's always a contradiction. Two parents, if you tell a child, "Don't do this," maybe the father say, "Don't do this," the mom, which one? The mom comes around and say, "Do it." Which one is the child going to do? So now our religious leaders are positioned to train us, not to distract. This is not the time for distraction. So once the government says this, we should not go otherwise. But we can still use the religious leaders, because I have issues. I don't even read my WhatsApp again, because a lot of flooded information, arguments, religion versus what do I call it? Science. That's not necessary now. A religious leader is not docile. The imams, the pastors, even the traditionalists, we can't take it away from them. What the government, to me, is trying to do, I think they will have partnered with them. There's CAN, there's this, I don't know what the Muslims call their own. Because even as I am now, I'm still connected to my pastor. You know why? But I will listen to what my pastor is saying, but I will now say my own. Yeah, no pastor, by call. She understand. But once you want to enforce it on them, they understand. That means you are taking that role away from them, and people don't like it. We are all human. Mr. Adefila is the head of the team now. Femi Olanikopo is so popular. Are you not under him? Can you make decision in his absentia? It's not possible. So there must be a partnership. That's why we have issues in the hospital. We have issues when about mental health issues. My pastor said I should not use drugs. You come down to that person's level, but I would not agree with, at this point in time, those that are still going to church. I was listening to one of the TV program, a guy on Friday in Lagos. He said, "I just go to the church, to the mosques. I'm not happy and I want to pray." You can't take such things from. It's a personal thing. And religiosity and spirituality, there's a synergy. You don't treat people in isolation. Everything works together. Am I communicating? So you don't. So I respect our religious, spiritual fathers, but let them connect. It's not everything. Me too. Everybody is spiritual. You cannot tell me that you are more than me. I just look at people when people talk. It doesn't matter to me, as in at times they will see just based on your appearance, you start judging me. I'm saying today that I'm the Sunday school teacher in my church. I'm a fashionable person. I don't give. Do you understand? Even me in that kind of church that I attend, I don't qualify. But for them, each time I want to withdraw, they will tell me, Sunday school. Okay. Do you understand? So we should not get it wrong.
I think the religious leaders are just not being sensitive enough, especially for those who actually held services last Sunday. Khan has been duly informed, and all churches came up with protocols on how people will be at home. I attend the Baptist church. 3 or 4 days earlier, they had brought protocols on how people would, and a lot of other churches complied. Even the Redeemed, Baba just did something on the Dove. And then I think the Muslims too, the Jumat services were also stopped. And I think I've read online how Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam possibly had actually given instructions, during epidemics or pandemics, Even in the Bible, the one that the Passover, it was more also like an epidemic. And they stayed at home. That means they were not allowed to go out. They didn't say because they had already put the blood there, be moving up and down. It's possible if they were moving up and down, that particular blood wouldn't have even worked. Yeah. Everything goes with certain instructions. And like we discussed in the issues in Christendom last Sunday, that the Bible talks about you obeying my commandments and statutes. There are statutes. And statutes are not, they may be science-based. They may be common sense-based. I don't know whether you're getting what I'm saying. The spiritual and the physical cohere. Now, this issue of laying claim on the spiritual in a way to violate the physical or the body is not correct. And a lot of our leaders, religious leaders, they want to play God, and they are not God. Jesus Christ is the one through whom we got to know God, and we are connected to Him. And I also think in other religions, all the other leaders, either in Islam or even the traditional, they are only instructors or guides in the path to know God or the deity, no matter who they declare Him. But in Africa, we have problems with leadership where our leaders wants to play God. That is wrong, and that has actually even affected us. People actually also blaming a good number of them. They thank God a few of them have responded. That how many of them actually responded to these those people who are so rich? How many of them actually responded to this COVID menace? How much donations have we had from them? People fly jets up and down. Do you know what it means to pack a jet a day? So what is the response? But we have seen people, philanthropists, who are possibly not religiously, that's responding. And then we have seen people posting online how people should pay money. People are saying rather than pay money, why don't you also reinforce some of those instructions? Pay whatever offering. That why are you paying money on offering? Why don't you tell us how we can keep safe and the scriptures to read, and then God will keep. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Just before I open the phone lines, Doctor, talking about leadership. Yeah. Should we also expect a change in the attitude of a political leadership as regards health going forward? But at times like this, we are in this mess together.
Some people are pessimistic, but I think if they are reasonable people, now that Corona has shut all of us down into the Nigerian hospital, I think they should. Aso Rock, with all the budgets, cannot adequately take care of our chief of staff. It's a shame. That hospital has enough funds over the 4 or 5 years to be able to have a ventilator, should be able to do anything that any hospital, any other place in the world. Look, I mean, it's a wake-up call. Although we are hearing rumorsly that some people are still distributing some cars that they just bought. Do you understand what I'm saying? In this pandemic, you can keep the cars somewhere, but at land they are busy distributing cars that they've just bought. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I think there's something wrong with leadership here, and this is where these are some of the lessons I think we, the electorate too, should learn to begin to know those who are our leaders, because a lot of these facilities that even that's why we are praying we don't have a pandemic. If there's a pandemic, it is the same people that will hijack these resources. It is not you and I that will be able to have access to all of this. So once God helps us to abate, to let this thing abate, And then I think we should begin to interrogate leadership.
All right, so let's open the phone lines. Let's get our people back home to join the conversation. This one, Dr. Oluwafisayo Adebimpe and Dr. Adeoyo Yewole. Earlier on, we spoke to Dr. Rafiu Isamotu, still on this, coronavirus pandemic, looking at the behavioral science going forward, aspect of this, how it's likely going to affect our relationship, what we should expect and what we should prepare for. The numbers to call 0806-867-6165 and 0902-427-3808, as well as 0905-648-7177. Let's begin to pick the calls now. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Akintunde calling from Ilefe.
Thank you, Mr. Akintunde.
Yes, sir. Well, I just want to make these two contributions. One, I'm not really serious about the people out there. We have this case of epidemic, and our political class can still be sharing car. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. I think the best thing they should be doing now is look out for the way to curtail this thing. But the best they can do is to keep on doing what they have been doing. And that is not going to change the narrative if things continue like this. And secondly, they ask the common man to sit down back at home. I called a friend in Ofa just this morning. It was like the lockdown is already affecting their life. Just they started it yesterday. They don't have access to buy paper. And, that is the crisis we are foreseeing. I just pray God will take this issue out of our midst and God deliver us from it. Thank you very much.
It's a big amen. Hello, good morning. Hello. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Ayobami from Oshogo.
Thank you, Ms. Ayobami.
Yeah, I want to really appreciate the contribution of the doctors and anchor of the program. What I think, my take on this matter is that most of our social gathering after this whole pandemic is being, it's been taken care of by God's grace. I think our social gathering is going to be very limited because we all know from science point of view that even after this whole thing is gone, doctors need to preserve, or scientists need to preserve a strand of this virus for further study. So definitely, people will still be afraid. People like conspiracy theory. People will still be afraid that maybe somehow things will be in the air. So people will want to be careful. So that's my take on the matter.
Thank you very much. Let's take messages here on WhatsApp. Abiodun Yewa from Ogolu Oshogo says, coronavirus is going beyond normal. I pray God intervene before it to go beyond control. However, I urge the people to adhere to various instructions to avoid spreading of the disease. Also, I appeal to foodstuff sellers not to increase the price of things abnormally. God bless Nigeria. Hilary from Oshogo says, I believe that our political elites are learning their lesson. Let them fix our health facilities so that after this time we can improve to avoid living in isolation. May God heal our land. In Jesus' mighty name. And Bingo Gunti from Oshogo says, this novel disease, coronavirus, has caused a lot of dislocation spiritually, economically, and socially. The lesson to draw from this is to always prepare for any eventuality in every sector of our lives. May God quicken the ouster of this novel intercontinental virus. What's your name?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm Dotun from Ife.
Thank you, Mr. Dotun.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the reaction of our religious leader to it. Last week Sunday, I saw the ways when some people are going to church. I wasn't happy about it because we needed to yield to what the government is saying. And now that when the doctor was talking about being religious and spirituality, and now that we cannot go to church, there's no way we can be religious. Religiosity comes through the various activities that happens in the church. So now we all need to be spiritual in our different homes.
All right. Thank you very much. Prince Abdurrahman Adegunju from Orilio says, as I commend the gumption with which government is enforcing the sit-at-home order, I suppose government should also be meticulous about the backlash of such orders. If adequate palliatives are not put in place, it may worsen the already doldrum economy. Government should be wary of these facts so that we don't end up in the way of an unprecedented institution, which is even worse than the coronavirus itself. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Akim.
Thank you, Mr. Akim.
My name is Akim from Mutugo.
Thank you, Mr. Akim.
Thank you very much. I want to appreciate you and the guests in the studio and thank you for what you have been doing. I have some few points in it. Number one, the people are not well educated. The function of the MOE, I don't know it. And I think we have misinformation to work on that. The council, the parish led by the council. Why not let's take the fight locally, where the councillors, the chairmen, the fight in the council, instead of having the central enforcement committee task force. Then Nigeria, there's the gap between the government and the people. And the religious leaders are holding this big for a very long time. I think the religious leaders have to be co-opted in doing all these things so that people will be able to be educated.
Right.
Then I think there's an eye-opener for us that the government should work better on our hospitals and our health centers. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Messages here. Anthony Victor says, poverty will always make people to run to religious center and believe anything the clergy says. Imagine if there is no religious center in Nigeria, crime, suicide, etc., and half a dozen. And Alagunji Wasiu Abiodun says, I pray God Almighty let this season pass sooner than later, but as we can see, the virus is rampant amongst the most powerful ones. It's still not the revolution people are clamoring, but the revolution without ammunition. Oh Lord, keep us safe and heal these. Okay, let's take this call, then we'll take the last message. Hello, good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Please, you may need to call back. Hello, name, where are you calling from?
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. It does keep the good job.
Thank you, sir. What is your name, sir?
Comment. Hello?
What is your name and where are you calling from, sir?
Okay, my name is Solan, speaking from Kuta.
Oh, thank you.
Now, look at the illustration the woman there painted between you and your boss there and whatever you people are doing there. Now, it's like we are in a state of confusion. The government has a song. Hello?
Hello.
You know, mostly we have illiterate people who doesn't know much. And they rely on their spiritual leaders to give them the information, to give them succor, to tell them what to do. So
all right, well, thank you very much. Because of our time, let's take the last message. Ayodele Adeyemo from Med says, psychology angle to COVID-19. By psychological makeup, Nigerians don't have the capacity for coping with disasters. We mourn and weep. This is why every Nigerian should anticipate the possible peak of the COVID-19 and do more of personal hygiene and comply with simple things like social distancing. Personal preservation is the way out. Only believe the story. Well, that'll be all. So let's get back to our guests. Take their final remarks. Let me start with Dr. Adebinkwe. In just 30 seconds, your final remarks.
Yes, let's maintain personal hygiene, hand washing, the social distancing. Overcrowding for now is a no. And let's check on each and every one of us by calling, texting, because we cannot go out for now. Thank you, Nigeria, and God bless you.
Thank you. Dr. Yewale.
Yes, I think all the precautions for COVID-19 are enshrined in all the religions. Not contradictory at all. For any leader who
including the sit at home.
Sit at home is there are we need to be careful in the way we will react to them. We shouldn't treat them as lepers, as much as we also want to keep our social distancing. But even after this thing, I know some people will still keep their social distancing with their breath, which could hurt them. But I think it's a delicate balance between.
Because a lot of families are abroad. Yes. There's no family,
and they help us
member
a lot.
In Nigeria that does have.
So in as much as
yes.
Well, we have to run now. Thank you very much, lady and gentlemen. Dr. Adeoyo Yewale, consultant psychiatrist and theologian. Thank you for joining us on the program today.
Thank you.
And Dr. Oluwafisayo Adebinkwe, clinical psychologist and lecturer. We thank you so much for joining us on Frank Talk today. We'll be back here on Monday, but Thompson will be here tomorrow at 7 a.m. for Thompson and the Gang. My name is Femi Olanipeku. Bye-bye.
Flex up, he don't land oh. Flex up, now he no show. Anywhere you are, flex up, he no show. Ògùn. Ṣùgbọ́n Ìlọrin. Logistics service. Serving better.
Looking for a dependable and affordable car service in Osogbo? FlexCab is your best bet. Contact our office at number 21, Omoluabi Shopping Camp, Old Governor Service Area, Osogbo, Osun State, Nigeria. 090-1532-0635 or 080-7473-6685. Follow us on all our social media platforms at FlexCab.
ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ẹ kú oríire o Peculiar Grace Supermarket kọ́rẹ́ dàálẹ̀. bẹ́ẹ̀ ni Peculiar Grace Supermarket yóò bẹ̀rẹ̀ promo. onírúurú ohun tẹ́ bára lọ́dọ̀ wọn. ìfà yóò máa tọ̀ yín lẹ́yìn. Peculiar Grace Supermarket mo káàbọ̀ sílùú Òṣogbo. ohun èlò ìgbàlódé lóríṣiríṣi. bí aṣọ ọmọdé àti tàgbà. English and native wears. aṣọ tó bá gbà mú lóde àríyá. tẹ́ ẹ bá fẹ́ gbé aṣọ ìnáwó. ẹ̀yin ẹ máa bọ̀ ní Peculiar Grace Supermarket. oríṣiríṣi electronics bíi plasma TV, washing machine, fan, laptop computer, home theatre, fridge and deep freezer. School bag fáwọn ọmọ wa. ohun èlò ìṣeré ọmọdé ń bẹ́ẹ̀lẹ̀ níbí bá. bàtà ọmọdé bàtà àgbà. kúlà olóoru gbígbóná. portable wardrobe. gift anthems. kissing utensils. àǹfààní ńlá lélẹ̀ yìí o. má jẹ́ kó fò ooru. ọjọ́ ajé Monday 23 títí di ọjọ́ Saturday 28 oṣù yìí. ni yóò wáyé ní ìlú Òṣogbo. Peculiar Grace Supermarket. Asubiaro Hospital Junction Òṣogbo. ẹ̀lú wọn rèé 0803-550-1515 tàbí 0818-165-4053. Peculiar Grace Supermarket. ọ̀dọ̀ rẹ̀ là ń bọ̀.
Darling, aren't we going out today?
Today? I don't feel like going anywhere. I'll just relax at home.
Let's go and greet Kunle and his wife.
I'll dial *966# to buy airtime to call them.
Remember, you need to give the mechanics some money.
Yeah, thanks. I'll dial *966# to send money to his account.
Won't you first check how much we have in the account?
I've already done that with *966#.
How about opening a new bank account for me?
Come on, baby. I'll do it right away with *966#.
If we're going to stay at home, let's go out and renew our TV subscription then.
I'll dial *966# to pay the bill now. Yeah! Now I'll kick my feet up and watch some football, because today I'm not going anywhere. Nowhere at all.
Live easy with easy banking from Zenith Bank. Dial *966# on your mobile phone to avoid the inconvenience of physical transactions. Buy airtime, pay bills, transfer money, etc. from where you are. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
sísọkún àkọ́kọ́ ọmọ tuntun ní yàrá ìbímọ àti ìṣẹ́jú kìíní ó yẹ kí a máa gbé àwọn tuntun fún àwọn ìyá wọn láti fún wọn lọ́yàn lọ́gán tí wọ́n bá ti bí wọn. mílíkì alákọ̀ọ́kọ́ aláwọ̀ òféèfé tó kì pọ́pọ́ ní àwọn èròjà aṣaralóore tí àwọn ọmọdé nílò láti dàgbà pẹ̀lú okun àti orí pípé. béèrè lọ́wọ́ àwọn oníṣẹ́ ìlera láti gbé ọmọ rẹ sí ọyàn rẹ ní wákàtí tí o bá bí wọn. má lo omi má lo oje ọyàn mímu nìkan bẹ̀rẹ̀ pẹ̀lú ìpele gidi fún ọjọ́ ọ̀la tó dára.
Ìkéde yìí wá láti Federal Ministry of Health, ilé-iṣẹ́ ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun pẹ̀lú ìrànlọ́wọ́ láti ọ̀dọ̀ Alive and Thrive àti àwọn alábàáṣepọ̀ mìíràn.
Láti iléeṣẹ́ alárààgbà yìí dá yín Rave 91.7 FM aago mẹ́wàá ti lù.
Àkókò àrẹ̀lẹ̀ o, àkókò àrẹ̀lẹ̀ o, ètò bàbá ètò ló wọlé dé. Àkókò àrẹ̀lẹ̀ o, àkókò àrẹ̀lẹ̀ o. Tó ní kìmí nú, orí ètò àkókò àrẹ̀lẹ̀ o.
yín pé a kú ojúmọ́ làárọ̀ yìí níbi gbogbo tẹ́ ẹ bá ti ń gbọ́kàn ní Rave 91.7 FM tó kanlẹ̀ sí àgùnbẹ́lẹ́wò tó kanlẹ̀ sí ìlú Òṣogbo ní àhín níbi tá a ti máa ń fún yín ní ọ̀kanòjọ̀kan ìròyìn ọ̀kanòjọ̀kan ohun tó bá ń jáde sétí gbọ́ tiwa tẹ́yìn náà sì mọ́ ọmọ bó ṣe ń lọ káàkiri àgbáyé ètò yín ètò wa òwúrọ̀ láwà náà látún wà lórí rẹ̀ ìpele àkọ́kọ́